And when someone has a medical emergency, we know every second counts. So now the city of Norfolk wants to increase your chance of survival if you do go into cardiac arrest. Today, city leaders launched the new PulsePoint app. And 13 News Now reporter Jacqueline Lee shows us how it works.
A mere matter of minutes can make the difference between someone living and dying in a medical emergency. Just ask retired paramedic John Wright.
The stars aligned that day. They really did. I was very fortunate to be here instead of at home.
4 years ago, Wright went into cardiac arrest. Luckily, he was at work and surrounded by other paramedics.
And they started CPR right away. And then 8 minutes of CPR, and they shocked me 3 times. And they pretty much brought me back.
Wright told a story here at the launch of Norfolk's new PulsePoint app. Officials say it's simple.
Staying alive, doing those chest compressions, keeping people alive until we get there.
You download the app, and if someone within walking distance goes into cardiac arrest, you get a notification. It'll tell you where to go to administer CPR and also where you can find the nearest AED.
We're going to get there in 5 minutes or less, 90% of the time. But we need you in those 4 to 5 minutes before we arrive to be willing to do hands-only CPR.
First responders say those minutes can save someone's life. Wright says it certainly saved his.
The worst thing that could happen is nobody doing anything. This is good early CPR. It's probably going to save a whole lot of people.
In Norfolk, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.